Did you know that some of America's once thriving cities now stand as mere shadows of their former selves? There's a story behind every city, a tale of growth, prosperity, and sometimes decline. In the early to mid-20th century, many American cities experienced a period of tremendous growth. They were bustling with activity, the streets filled with the hum of industry and the promise of the American dream. Cities like Detroit, New Orleans, Buffalo, and Flint were the beating heart of a nation, pulsating with the rhythm of progress. These cities were the epitome of American innovation and resilience, home to thriving industries that shaped the course of the global economy. Detroit, the Motor City, was the birthplace of the automobile industry, while New Orleans, with its vibrant port, was a key player in international trade. Buffalo was a beacon of the steel industry, and Flint, the cornerstone of General Motors. Yet, as the decades rolled on, the landscape began to change. The rise of inexpensive manufacturing in foreign lands, coupled with shifts in U.S. government policy and labor movement demands, began to take a toll. The once vibrant factories fell silent, the streets grew quieter, and these cities began their descent into decline. In addition to the economic shifts, natural disasters played their part too. Hurricane Katrina, for instance, wreaked havoc on the city of New Orleans, leaving it struggling to recover even today. But it wasn't just the industries that moved away. People did too. The demographic shift saw populations moving towards the southern parts of the U.S., driven by the growing number of retirees seeking warmer climates and workforce relocation. This shift left the cities with disappearing tax bases, high crime rates, and desolate urban landscapes. The once thriving cities now stood as hollowed-out reminders of what they once were, their glory days a distant memory. So, what led to the downfall of these cities? Let's delve into their stories. Detroit, once the automobile capital of the world, now stands desolate. In the early 20th century, Detroit was buzzing with activity. The automobile industry, led by giants such as Ford and General Motors, was in its prime, and the city thrived on the prosperity brought by these manufacturing behemoths. Detroit was a city of opportunity, a symbol of the American dream. However, as the century progressed, the landscape began to change. The rise of inexpensive manufacturing in Japan began to challenge Detroit's dominance in the automobile industry. Japanese companies were producing cars at a fraction of the cost, and the world took notice. Detroit's automobile companies struggled to compete, and gradually, the city's economic backbone began to crumble. Job losses led to population decline, and the once bustling city began to resemble a ghost town. The shift in manufacturing to Japan wasn't just an economic shift, it marked a change in the world order. Detroit, once a symbol of American industrial might, now stands as a testament to the harsh realities of economic change. New Orleans, a city known for its vibrant culture and music, was brought to its knees by a natural disaster. The year was 2005 when Hurricane Katrina, a force of nature of unparalleled ferocity, swept through this proud city, leaving devastation in its wake. This wasn't just a storm, it was a turning point that marked the beginning of a long and arduous struggle for recovery. The city, already grappling with economic and social issues, found itself facing an unprecedented challenge. The hurricane had not only caused physical damage, but had also exacerbated the pre-existing wounds of poverty and inequality. The recovery was slow, hindered by a lack of resources and governmental support. The once bustling streets were now eerily quiet, the vibrant music scene silenced, and the lively Mardi Gras parades a distant memory. Despite the resilience of its people, New Orleans faced a steep uphill climb in its quest to reclaim its former glory. The city's population dwindled, businesses shut down, and the crime rate spiked. Yet amidst the hardship, the spirit of New Orleans remained unbroken. The city, known for its joie de vivre, refused to give in to despair. New Orleans, a city once full of life, now struggles to reclaim its former glory. But in the face of adversity, the city's spirit remains vibrant, a testament to the resilience of its people. The tale of New Orleans serves as a poignant reminder of the devastating impact of natural disasters on our urban landscapes. Buffalo, once a bustling hub of the Erie Canal, now stands quiet and empty. This city, nestled on the shores of Lake Erie, was once a pivotal point in America's industrial expansion. It had a strategic location that allowed goods to be shipped from the Midwest to New York City and beyond, making it a vibrant economic powerhouse. However, As time passed, the shipping routes that once breathed life into Buffalo began to change. The advent of interstate highways and the rise of rail and air transport meant that the once crucial Erie Canal was no longer the main artery of American commerce. As the shipping routes shifted, so too did the fortunes of Buffalo. The city's decline was not sudden, but a gradual process. Businesses closed, jobs disappeared, and the population dwindled. The once thriving cityscape became a ghost town, its streets echoing with the memories of a prosperous past. But Buffalo's story doesn't end here. It serves as a poignant reminder of the ever-changing economic landscape. Cities rise and fall, and the factors that lead to their success can just as quickly lead to their decline. Buffalo, a city that once thrived on its strategic location, now stands as a reminder of the changing economic landscape. Flint, once the birthplace of General Motors, now struggles to survive. This Michigan city was once a beacon of prosperity, thanks to the rise of General Motors in the early 20th century. The city thrived, its economy bolstered by the automotive industry and the jobs it created. As the decades passed, however, Flint began to feel the sting of economic shift. The inexpensive manufacturing hubs emerging in Japan posed a formidable threat. In an effort to stay competitive, General Motors started to relocate its operations. The fallout was immediate and devastating for Flint. The city that had once bustled with the energy of a booming automobile industry now faced a grim reality. Job losses mounted, and the city's economy spiraled. The ripple effects of this economic decline have been far-reaching. Flint's population dwindled as residents sought opportunities elsewhere. The city's tax base shrank, leading to budget shortfalls and cuts in public services. Crime rates spiked, and urban decay set in. Flint, a city that once symbolized American industrial success, now battles with economic and social challenges. A stark reminder of the transience of economic prosperity, Flint's story is a testament to the need for adaptability in the face of global shifts. And the list goes on: Cleveland, Hartford, Albany, each with their own tale of rise and fall. From the bustling streets of Cleveland to the financial hub of Hartford and the historic charm of Albany, these cities too have experienced a significant downfall. Once thriving metropolises, they now tell a tale of decline and struggle, each with its unique set of circumstances. Cleveland, a city that was once a beacon of the American industrial might, has seen a gradual decline over the years. The shift in the economic landscape from manufacturing to services has hit this city hard. Coupled with the population shift towards the Sunbelt regions, Cleveland's once robust economy has struggled to keep pace. Moving east, we find Hartford, a city that was once known as the insurance capital of the world. Hartford's decline is a classic example of how policy decisions can shape the fate of a city. Over-reliance on a single industry and the inability to diversify its economic base has led to its downfall. The city's population dwindled as job opportunities became scarce and those who could moved away. And then there's Albany, a city steeped in history and tradition. Albany's decline is not as steep as some of its counterparts, but it's still significant. The city's population has been declining steadily as younger generations seek opportunities elsewhere. The shift in population has left Albany grappling with a shrinking tax base and a growing burden of maintaining its aging infrastructure. These are but a few examples of the many American cities that have seen better days. The common thread running through their stories is the shift in population, the changing economic landscape, and policy decisions that didn't quite hit the mark. It's a sobering reminder of how dynamic and unforgiving the forces of change can be. So, what does the future hold for these cities? Can they reclaim their former glory? As we reflect on the stories of these cities, it becomes clear that change is the only constant. These tales of decline and downfall, of vibrant metropolises reduced to shadows of their former selves, aren't just history lessons. They're cautionary tales, reminders of the consequences of ignoring the shifting sands of time, of economy, of society. We've witnessed the rise and fall of Detroit, once the heart of America's automobile industry, now a symbol of industrial decline. We've traced the tragic tale of New Orleans, a city brought to its knees by a natural disaster, and the systemic failures that followed. We've walked the desolate streets of Buffalo, Flint, and other cities that once thrived on the pulse of American industry. But these aren't stories of defeat. They're tales of resilience, of cities and communities that continue to fight, to adapt, to dream. They're stark reminders that we must learn to navigate the tides of change, to adapt and evolve in the face of challenges. The decline of these cities wasn't inevitable. It was the result of a complex interplay of factors, many of which could have been mitigated or managed differently. There were choices made, policies implemented, opportunities missed, and while we can't change the past, we can learn from it. Perhaps there's a lesson in the rise of inexpensive manufacturing in Japan, or the shift of population to the southern part of the US. Maybe we need to reevaluate how we respond to natural disasters, or how we manage economic transitions. There's much to ponder here, much to learn. As we look to the future, let's remember these cities. Let's remember their stories, their struggles, their resiliency, and let's use these lessons to shape a better future, one where we're prepared to adapt, to change, to evolve. What do you think could have been done differently to prevent the decline of these cities? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, history often serves as our greatest teacher.